Hello and welcome back to episode 12 of the Married with Media podcast. It has been a hot minute.
Yeah, we think it's episode 12.
It is.
We were having a debate on that. Oh, it is? You know for sure?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Of course, I'm going to confirm.
Yeah, we're here for another podcast because you had a topic that you wanted to discuss and dive into. This doesn't mean that we're not going to do live streams. We do plan to go back to do like the news live streams and stuff. But we did also say that if we had a topic to discuss, that we would do a podcast episode. So I'm excited because I kind of know what you want to talk about, but I don't know like fully what you want to talk about. So,
well, that's the thing with having a topic is that, it usually turns into something else. Like it just, keeps evolving and other conversations come up with it. So that's what I'm kind of hoping will happen, because I definitely feel like with the topic, we kind of come from two different sides of it. So
yeah, how you were kind of painting it to me, I'll be honest, it kind of felt like an attack.
Well, so we have, this is definitely like a topic that has been talked about many times.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've talked about it on your channel before. I've always been very vocal about like physical media and whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you just want to say what we're actually talking about here.
I do think that the popularity of your side of the arguments has grown over the past couple of years, though.
Yeah.
I will say that. But you tell the people what we're talking about. This is
you felt like you were gonna lead into it, but so basically, and I will say that I was kind of inspired by some videos that I was watching on YouTube, and it just got me thinking about like in our world of YouTube and our hobbies and stuff. But basically, I kind of just wanted to talk about when you have a hobby such as collecting movies or watching movies. How has social media, and I guess mainly social media, how has it changed hobbies? And again, like we're going to focus on movies, not just any old hobby or whatever, but I mean, it applies literally to every hobby.
Yeah, I mean, it applies to collecting in general, and not just collecting movies, but collecting anything.
Yeah.
There is literally a community of YouTube channels and social media influencers and accounts that will talk about collecting anything. Like there's a stamp collecting community out there somewhere.
But like also, we can kind of get into this as well.
But not just collecting, other types of influencing as well.
Well, I like when I'm talking about like there's hobbies. I don't know. I feel like there's kind of a difference in hobbies and collecting.
No, well, I think they're one and the same.
I don't know.
I think that collecting can be a hobby.
I don't think so, because this kind of comes up.
Collecting's kind of a branch of a hobby. Like you have hobbies, which could entail a number of things. And I think what comes off of hobbies, collecting is one of those. And then what comes off of that is what you collect in several other branches.
Like essentially when you have a hobby, you do end up collecting things, I guess, to be able to do the hobby. But there are different types of hobbies that don't necessarily require you to buy a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about is, like I said, it can just kind of evolve into a bunch of different things, and just having, okay, before we get into it, first of all, thank you for, listening to this episode. Make sure to like it or heart it or whatever, whatever platform you're on. If you're listening,
comment it.
Yeah. Whatever platform you're on, do the appropriate things, to help us out for sure. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, and we're glad you're here. I don't know. we won't even do an update of sorts because I feel like we're already kind of getting into the topic here. But so yeah, I just wanted to say that. But so let's just start with, to keep this a little more streamlined, maybe. So hobbies, okay? Well, okay.
Is there, to start things off, is there a hobby you can think of off the top of your head that does not require you to spend any money on anything?
Well, I didn't say that.
Well, I mean, I think that there are.
But I said that there's definitely like different extremities of hobbies. And then, well, it kind of goes into how I feel like social media makes people want to kind of go crazy with their hobbies.
Yeah, take it a step further.
Yeah. Whereas, maybe back in the days before social media, people could be happier with less, when it came to their hobby. Like, for instance, when we were talking about, like, when I was giving you this idea of a topic, I said, you might not have been a big colorer, being a boy or whatever, but, little girls like to color. And so back in the day, you could go to the dollar store and get a cheap coloring book and a little pack of crayons or markers, whatever your preference was, and you would be good. And, that was a couple bucks, maybe $5, I don't know. Whereas now, you've got social media and there's this whole world out there of colorers. If you're talking about like TikTok, there's all the different talks. So there's like, color talk, book talk, movie talk, whatever. It's like where people come together about that one thing. And it's just like these influencers or whatever you want to call them, content creators, they're sharing about the hobby. So like coloring, but it's like, and this will go into what you do on your channel. And I know you get so tired of hearing it because, you are a little defensive about it, which I get.
I do get defensive.
But it's like, we're taking a hobby that is supposed to be enjoyable and, get your mind off of something and just, like create or whatever, and it's like when we bring social media into it, I feel like when we have a hobby, we naturally, now with social media, we want to like find other people that are into that too. And then you get into this like little time warp or tornado of, oh my gosh, like look at this girl. She got all these cute coloring books. You see these girls that have like this like setup, if you will, of like 20 different coloring books and they're $8 a piece. And then they have these fancy markers that are like, we're talking like a 100 count marker set that's like $200 or something for like coloring. When like I said, back in the day, we were good with just getting a pack of crayons or a pack of markers. And now it's about, oh, look at these. Like it's all like, essentially it comes down to like consumerism and how all of our lives, even back then, with commercials and stuff, we're being fed to want to buy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, that's a good point that you bring up because we have influencers and social media now, but we've always had advertising.
Yeah.
And we've always had people or companies trying to get other people to buy stuff through some kind of means, whether it's a commercial, whether it's a magazine article or, an ad in a magazine or a newspaper, something. There's always been some form of advertising since products came about.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like with our phones, it's just like in our face 24/7. Yeah, because, back in the day, you went to school and then maybe you came home and watched TV and then it was in your face. But, or if you're an adult, you go to work and then you come home and then you might see some advertisements on your evening TV watch or whatever. Whereas now, everybody's so addicted to their phones. It's just constantly like, essentially, so like, no matter how you break it down, when someone posts something or shares, like has something in stories or something, it essentially like, it's almost like a little thing goes off in your head and like if you track it down to the very core of it, it almost makes you want to like go spend money.
Yeah.
Like if you see someone post about a coffee, it makes you want to go get a coffee. If you see someone post about a movie, it makes you want to go see it, or it makes you want to go buy the movie. If you see somebody post a cute t-shirt, you're like, oh, I want that t-shirt. It like always comes back to buying something. Or like you see somebody on vacation, you're like, damn, I want to go on vacation. It's like everything like is money.
Well, yeah, and I think what it comes down to is, with the age of the internet and social media, is we have too much access to too many people's everyday lives.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's so many different varieties of everyday lives that we can now see. Whereas before, it was just regulated to, you go to school and you hear about from your friends like what they did last night or something like that, or you go to church and you hear about so and so's like they're getting ready to go on vacation or whatever. You see somebody at the supermarket and you all get to talking about something what you did last night. Like it's just a smaller pool of people, like, which could influence you, but it's just less, I guess, options.
And I mean, you could say that like
less opportunities to influence you.
Right. And it's like, obviously the internet is not all bad, or social media is not all bad. You could say that like looking at a pro of it, social media maybe makes you find things that you never would have found because you would have never even known about it, or because you were in this like certain group of people, you know what I mean? Like, but because you're so exposed to so many different kinds of people and their hobbies and all those things, it's, and
even like taking it back to movies, but even like movies when we were growing up in the 90s, you only could watch what you had access to, like what we had at the video store, what our grandma had on her shelf, or whatever. We didn't have access to all these different movies, so there's ones that are from back in like the 80s and 90s we've never seen before because we didn't have access to them. And I didn't grow up with cable. I didn't have cable till I was like 14. So I didn't have like a lot of the cable channels. I could just watch what was on regular TV. So, but now kids growing up now have access to literally everything.
Right.
And there's so many options, and like there's way more options now than there were even back then. But now like all of those options are available to you, and all of those options are in your face constantly.
But bringing it back in a little bit to like hobbies and the actual like, and I like, I know I was focused on coloring or whatever as an example. That was just something that this particular video that inspired me to want to talk about this was talking about. But so basically, and like I've been very vocal about this many times on our channel about just how I go through these, like, I just go through these spells where I want to just, get off social media.
It's all bullshit.
You're
like, I hate this. I hate even talking about movies.
I
leave. I hate this.
I just really get into my head about how it's all just so stupid at the end of the day. Or it just feels stupid, sometimes.
I do as well. I mean, I'll fire up the camera and I'll be like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like, actually.
But
at the end of the day, I feel like, I get definitely a good portion of negative feedback, but I get a lot of positive feedback, and people that are just like, I don't even care about like buying this edition or watching this movie, but I just like enjoying your content. I just enjoy it. Like it's just something to watch. And I got a lot of people that are just like, oh, thank you for putting out this content and this content. I enjoy it and love it. And I'm like, well, that's why I do it. I do it to entertain, I guess. I'm just another form of entertainment, just like the movies, which at the end of the day, maybe that doesn't make me feel completely better, but
it's kind of like, for me, it just comes down to, this is like gonna turn into like a therapy session. But it's like you just have, kind of going off of what you were saying, having all this like stuff in your face with the internet or the social media and stuff. It's like you have all of these I guess, expectations or whatever put on you to, you know, be providing, and, you know, like you're supposed to, you know, work and pay bills. And if you have a family, you got to take care of them. And then, like, you're still supposed to take care of yourself, and you're supposed to, you know, also have fun. And it's just like, it feels like it's too much to worry about. And so, you know, when it comes to like doing YouTube and stuff like that, it just like makes me feel like, am I wasting my time? Like, this is just so stupid. Like, there's literally hundreds of other, thousands of other people out there saying the same thing as me. Like, anyway, I feel like we're getting off on a side note there.
I guess for me, I have to always go back to like, well, why did I even start doing this? Before I even had a channel, before I even made any kind of money off of this stuff or anything like that, which is still, I don't make enough money to like support the family or quit my job or anything like that, but it's a good amount that you know I'm making off of here now. But originally it was just about like, I love movies and I want to talk about them and I have thoughts on them and I want to get those thoughts out. I feel like I need to express myself in that way because it is something that I'm passionate about and care about. So if I just maintain that focus, then I can continue on. Because yeah, I talk about some movies that I'm kind of so on, but there's a lot of movies I talk about that I watch for the first time that I love and I'm really excited to talk about, you know. But in my area, because I talk about physical media, it does feel like sometimes people care more about like the presentation of it, the packaging, how the 4K looks, sound, any issues, and there's a lot of arguing and fighting going on like in the community now over certain boutique labels and media outlets and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I just don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to talk about the films themselves.
Well, okay.
But I also like talking about physical media. I do.
But you're not like the like you're, I mean, that's basically like a hypocrite. Like you talked, you might have, I don't even know. I don't even feel like you did start talking about movies though. I feel like your channel always was physical media. Like your first,
I did movie reviews.
Your first
I had an entire
video
Instagram
though was like showing Wall-E, the physical.
Well, yeah, but I also did movie reviews, and I've always done a little bit of both. I always say this, that there was at one point the YouTube movie community split, and it was when like streaming became more popular, because back in the early days of YouTube, there were people that showed off their collections and reviewed new movies. They did both. And then at a certain point, it split, and either you were a physical media channel or you're a movie channel, you know, and you review new movies or you review physical media releases. Now, there are still channels that try to do both and juggle both. But
yeah, I just, you know, I think that that's stupid. I hate how the internet, social media is. I keep saying the internet, but the internet and social media are two different things, actually. I hate how with social media, you're just like, you know, you always tell me like you have to have a niche, but then I hear other people say you don't have to have a niche, like do whatever you want. And like, there's still channels that are successful and whatever. I feel like we're getting really off topic here. That is not where I want to go with this conversation. I wanted to talk about how.
Well, I got to take my arm off the table because you're going to yell at me every time I.
Okay, you kept doing this.
That's how I drop points when I'm talking in videos.
Okay, but that's going to pick up every time you pat your hand down, okay?
I can't just sit still and talk.
Anyway,
I'm animated.
You're really not.
Not in real life a lot, but when I'm talking about like movies and physical media and stuff, which I want to push back a little bit because you call me a hypocrite. I've literally talked about the movies themselves in like every single video I've ever done.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like every time I review a 4K, I talk about the movie first.
No, I'm just saying,
I've always like had that.
I don't know if you're like the best person to like say, yeah, I agree with you, Michelle, because like you literally talk about buying shit all the time.
I do.
And so, hold on. I just wanted to talk about how this is what gets you going, is when people, this has kind of become like a movement. And I've literally been saying this since like we got into this YouTube space. Like, who cares about physical media? Like, I get it. We need to preserve film and yada, yada, yada. We need to be able to watch it if it gets off streaming. Wah, wah, wah. Like, I get it. But like, at the end of the day, it gets so far away from the actual movie and what we actually should be caring about. Like, the actual movie. What is the movie about? How did the movie make us feel? Not what the fucking cover looks like, or what little box or what little book comes inside of it that you're never gonna fucking read. But it's like, I get it. Like, we as humans just like buying shit for some reason. But that's what I wanted to talk about, is how I think social media just makes you want to like buy stuff, like the stuff you love. And then it makes you get away from actually consuming what it is that you love. Like, you're just making it about buying shit, and you're not even taking the time to watch this stuff. Or like, we get so obsessed with like buying more that even when we're consuming something in the moment, we're thinking about what we're going to watch next or what we're going to buy next. You know what I mean?
I mean, that I agree with.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I don't know, like, it doesn't take away from that time when like I'm really locked into like a really good movie that I discover randomly from whatever physical media release.
Yeah.
And like, I just love it and I fall in love with it. Like, that happens. It doesn't happen every time.
Yeah.
It maybe happens 1 out of every 15 movies that I watch.
Yeah.
But when it happens, like, it's magical, and I love that experience, and I love film discovery so much. And that's kind of my reasoning and rationale behind it. Yes, I'm not going to watch everything I buy right away, but at some point I like to think, I'll check it out.
But I truly don't think that you will.
Some of them I might not.
I feel like there's a lot in your collection.
But I've also said this. I just like the idea of having like my own like selection of movies to browse through, like the video store. Like, you didn't watch everything in the video store, like, but you had the option to go through it and look at all these different movies. And everything that I get, I'm at least like interested in some way, or I wouldn't get it. So like, I'm in a way like curating a collection of movies that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just buying stuff that I'm not interested in. So I'm still able to, now, of course, you change through time. Something I thought I would be interested in 10 years ago when I bought it, now I maybe watch it, but then I look at it, I'm like, well, I don't really care about this at all.
Yeah.
Like, that may happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's weird for sure.
It is weird.
I don't have an excuse for everything. I can't excuse everything. I know it sounds stupid, and
yeah,
I can't rationalize everything that I do.
And I mean,
all I'll say is, like, yes, the movie's the most important, but also like the packaging and all the extra stuff that I talk about, like, that's just part of the fun of it too. That's like diving deeper into like movie fandom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all the cool like collectible stuff and special editions and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just taking it a step further.
But like, I don't know. It's just so odd because I think about how, we buy something like a movie or, a little collectible or whatever. And yeah, like there it sits. But it's like, how often do we like go up to it and like admire it? And you know what I mean? It's like, you just buy it and then you kind of forget about it. And it's like keeping it on movies and physical media. Like, how many times have we wanted to watch a movie and you're like, I have that on Blu-ray, and we still watch it on streaming?
Yeah, that happens. But if it wasn't on streaming,
like, what is literally the point?
If it wasn't on streaming, I've got the backup. I've got the option to come down here and get it and pop it in, and then we can watch it on physical.
Yeah, but it's like, how many times does that happen?
It just, for me, all that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it just doesn't matter. I like owning movies physically, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
maybe in 20 years I'll think it's stupid. I'm like, what did I do? And I just get rid of all of it.
But, well, here's the thing though. There is a difference in just like picking up some Blu-rays here and there or whatever, because those are like fairly cheap. But like when we get into the like,
the premium edition,
the limited editions, and yeah, just all the like, oh, here's this release. This one's cool because it comes with a little bottle of
pick up
blood
a
from
$50 box set 4K release of a movie that bombed in the 90s and nobody liked, and it's something I'll watch and I'll be like, yeah, it was all right, and I won't watch it again.
Yeah, like that just gets a bit much. And I feel like that kind of contributes to social media making you feel like you need it, because you're just like, that looks cool. And then, of course, then for you personally, it gets a little muddled because you think about what might go well on your channel and stuff like that. But if we take that out of the equation, assuming that the normal person listening is not on YouTube or whatever, it's like, at the end of the day, social media does influence us. That's literally, you would argue, what it was made for,
Yeah.
But I feel like it has definitely just like become like just one walking advertisement. I personally feel like I'm just constantly, essentially being sold to.
I get it. The thing about me is I'm just very self-aware, and I try to not present myself as an advertiser. And maybe that's what I'm doing, and maybe you can say that I'm doing that. But I try to just like talk about this stuff in just a regular way. I don't know. I'm not like,
but at
this
the end
is
of
coming out from this company on this date. Buy it now. Like I don't say that kind of stuff.
No, that's not. But like, you don't have to say it like that for it to have the same effect.
But I feel like even before,
just you posting a picture of something is making someone want to buy it.
Yeah, I get that.
And
I mean, I can't control that.
Well, no, I'm not saying you can. And like, this isn't even like a personal attack on you, but like, you can just relate to it because,
obviously I'm on the extreme end of things. All right. Like,
yeah,
I'm extreme. I always tell people, you don't have to be like me. Like, obviously, like I do this in part, I've got a channel. I've got like other motivations here other than just collecting these movies.
So you're just trying to show
I'm trying to
show variety,
the wide variety that's out there as much as I possibly can.
Right.
To inform people on just like what's going on in the world of physical media.
Yeah.
What's hot right now, who's killing it, who's not killing it so much, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I'm saying, we've talked about this. I feel like they're definitely.
But there are people that will take that as, I need to get everything he's got.
Yeah, but also, just like with anything, there is burnout to happen with that. And you have found yourself wanting to get back more to talking about the movie, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Instead of just, this cool edition of something. And it's like, when it comes to collecting movies and stuff, it's like, do we really need like 10 copies of the same movie just because it has a different artwork on it, or it came with something that was a little different? I don't know. It's just like, I do feel like buying stuff is kind of an addiction,
It is.
Like for anybody, like clothes or books or like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know what happened as like a society that we became more about buying stuff and getting gratification from that, as opposed to like actually consuming the art or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I do both, but yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of movies that I own.
Yeah.
And like realistically, I'll never watch what's in there.
Yeah.
I can't. There's not enough time left in my life.
Yeah. Isn't that disturbing?
But I like to
you like to have the option to pull out, Becky's workout video or whatever whatever the fuck it's called.
That's the Linnea Quigley workout experience.
One day you might want to watch that.
I probably never watch it, but what was I gonna say now? I'm completely lost in my thoughts.
Well, you said that realistically, you're never going to watch everything. There's not enough time.
And there's a lot of movies back there that I've gotten from certain independents, boutique labels and stuff, just really small level stuff that I've never even heard of. And there's a lot of that back there. And it's like, I'll never watch this. But I have it because somebody sent it to me to show off and showcase. And it's like, I'm okay with that because I got it in and I was able to show it off to somebody. And there's been a lot of times where I've done that, went through like 20 titles that I've never heard of. And somebody will comment and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even know that was out. I love that movie. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, well, that was for you then.
Yeah.
You know? And this is for this person.
Right.
But I'm just the spot where you can come to check out everything.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I've built the channel over the years. I don't know.
Well,
it always starts with the love for movies, right?
Right.
And then along the way, I just start opening these doors, and avenues, and discovering these different genres of films and types of movies and different eras of movies. And now I've seen so much that I hadn't seen. I thought I was a movie fan 6 years ago, 7 years ago before I started doing this. Now it's like, shit, I didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah, it's just interesting because, you kind of asked me earlier, like, what hobbies can you think of that don't require you to buy stuff? But it's like, you definitely can have a hobby and like be minimal with your spending. Like like that's what I have always enjoyed.
100%. I could buy $5 Blu-rays of some of these 4K box sets for
I was in mid-sentence.
Go ahead.
Now I forget what I was going to say. That is what I have always enjoyed about our channel, is that we haven't necessarily needed to like go out and spend a bunch of money to be able to make a video. Now obviously if we're going to review a new movie, like you've got the theater expense, but as us, we have always, watched movies. So that's why we created this channel, was that anyway. We would have been going to the theater anyway. So it's like, you can't have hobbies and like it be a part of your like everyday life and it not like be
where, as you
breaking
could argue,
the bank
like,
or whatever.
What I'm doing, if I didn't have the channel, I wouldn't be buying half of the stuff.
Right.
Back there. And I've said that before.
Yeah.
On my channel. I'll admit to that.
Right. But again, it's a different situation. Like I kind of want to keep it to where it relates to like the normal person or whatever. Someone who doesn't have a channel or whatever. But it's like, at the end of the day, social media, there is some good with it, but there's also just a lot of like shitty stuff about it. And I feel like it just, it's just really easy to like get sucked into this vortex of, the next shiny thing. And I don't know, like for me, I just get like really turned off by it, and that's why
there's like the cringe factor, to it all, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the best influencers are the ones that you don't realize you're watching an influencer while you're watching them.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like
feel more normal and down to earth, but at the end of the day, they're still an influencer.
Yeah. And it's like, there is a difference in like an influencer and a content creator. Like there are people who put out content that aren't necessarily like trying to get you to like buy something or something.
Yeah.
Like there are at least on my personal page, there are tons of just influencers who literally are just showing you their everyday life. And then they're just like linking everything that they use in a day. Like, here's my outfit today. That's an influencer.
They have no value to what they're bringing because there's no niche. There's no like, there's no area that they operate in. Like it's just a lifestyle channel.
Yeah. But you could argue that, they give you outfit ideas.
It's just a personality.
Yeah. Or you could argue that, maybe they share what they ate, gives you an idea for lunch, stuff like that. Like they're bringing something of value. I think it just is in the eye of the beholder a little bit too. Like, what do I get from this? And so you just kind of have to ask yourself, like, maybe it is just entertainment, or maybe, you know, they're teaching you something or whatever. And then that goes into a whole nother thing. Like, I always think, as much as we love movies and stuff, you know, you talk about there's not enough time in my life left to even watch all these. Like, again, it kind of comes back to, how do you want to spend your time here? Like, am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my life by watching movies? Like, I go through that all the time with you. I'm like, you know, you tend to want to watch movies a lot, and I enjoy movies, but maybe a little less than you do. And I'm always like, I feel like we need to be out living, doing something else, you know, like, so anyway, it's just all it's a lot. And again, I have pretty much, I have social media to thank me for even making me think about this stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I was trying to tell you that. I was like, so the people that are online that are spreading these ideas about influencers that try to sell stuff are themselves selling stuff too. They're selling an idea. Everybody's selling something.
I know. Yeah.
You're
and
selling
that's like
yourself, you're selling an idea, you're selling a cause.
Yeah.
You're selling a product. Everybody is selling you something in life. Like, you are constantly selling something and being sold to.
Well, I've seen this too, where I like to watch these videos where like people give up social media. Like, they're like, which it's kind of like a little ironic, because they'll still have a YouTube channel, but say they're not on social media, which, like, that is a thing. Some people don't have like Instagram, like they just post on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how that, like, it seems like they still have a successful YouTube channel. Like, I don't guess you need to have social media to be promoting and everything. It's just another way for people to find you, I guess. But anyway, I like to watch these videos too, where people like say how they gave up social media, you know, for like mental health or something like that. Or like, well, it comes down to a lot of stuff, because, you know, social media, like, yeah, like if you're putting yourself out there, like, you're gonna, you know, you're gonna get hate and like just be again, like, when you're on the internet, like, you're basically like turning over yourself for anybody to fucking tear you apart.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying, here I am, give me all you got, like, tell me what a piece of shit I am, or, you know, how ugly I am, or like the thing that I said that was so offensive, or like,
it takes a lot of guts to get on here and do this type of stuff. And you really should have respect for anybody that's willing to get on the internet and show their face off. And
but it's like, even
maybe
just
not everybody, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, even influencers, TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, like anybody that's willing to put themselves out there like that, because it gets shitty sometimes. Really shitty.
Yeah.
And people can make you, and I'm very susceptible. Some people can just like shrug it off, and I can too a lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just gets to me, and I'm like, fuck all this. Like, I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, these people just will not shut up about the same crap over and over again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you say, they'll twist it into something that's completely opposite of what you said.
Well, yeah. Like, not only are you giving your, like,
there's never any nuance
to the internet, like, you're inviting, like, all these ideas, all these thoughts from other people as well. And like, that's a mental burden. You know what I mean?
Everything's just always a war, and everybody wants you to pick a side, and it's always drama. And it's like, you got to do this, or you got to do this way or that way. And I'm just not about it. I'll do it my way. And if you don't like it, then don't watch me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get people that are just constantly commenting hateful things. It just, to me, it doesn't compute, because I've never done it. I've never watched somebody's video and commented anything like that before. So I can't relate.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree with somebody, I'm just like, okay, well, I just won't watch them anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But people love to hate watch.
They do. They do. Like, people like to be mean. Like, it is enjoyable for some people.
It feels like it's enjoyable for a lot of people.
Yeah. So
to be shitty and on other people, and
I told you this was going to be a therapy session.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't even have any like specific things right now. I feel like things are going all right now, and I'm not getting too many nasty comments here and there.
No, it's
But
really,
sometimes it can feel like the entire internet's against you.
yeah,
For sure.
Well, it's really very interesting. This is kind of going into another direction, but you like have always been like a very like non-controversial, what's the word? Uncontroversial?
Confrontational?
No, non-confrontational.
Yeah.
In real life, you just keep to yourself and like don't want no trouble kind of thing, And so whenever you got into this whole YouTube world, it's just always really crazy to, after you've grown and stuff, it's always just crazy how you have yet somehow like found yourself in drama more than once.
A lot.
Yeah. And it's just really, really interesting how it just shows you how like fake and not real the internet is. Like they don't know you. Like they don't know who you are as a person. And so people get these like perceptions of who they think that you are. And so it just goes back to the internet, social media. It's not real.
Yeah.
Like you can think that who someone is, but it's all very superficial, like surface level stuff. Like, somebody that's watching us right now, like they can think that they know me or whatever, but like you don't, like, what I mean?
You know me based on
through a screen.
What I'm saying right now for 30 minutes in an unfiltered, unedited format.
Yeah.
But
it's just
not like perfect encapsulation of
representation.
Like representation.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It's just very interesting. Again, the effects that social media has.
I mean, some people will literally watch 5 minutes of your YouTube video and they will try to pick you apart as a movie fan and your credibility as being able to get on the internet and talk about movies. Like I need a degree in film to get on here and start a YouTube channel.
Well, that's
like literally everybody. I heard a YouTuber the other day that's got 200,000 subscribers and talks about movies all the time, new movies. And he was like, I haven't seen Tombstone. I haven't seen Dirty Harry. I haven't seen a lot of these movies, these classic films that people criticize me for having not seen.
Yeah.
And he's like on that level, which is perfectly fine. Everybody's got gaps, but everybody just needs to understand that like there are movies that everybody hasn't seen. Everybody's at a different point in their journey.
Yeah.
On movies.
Like,
so to say you haven't watched this movie, you shouldn't be able to talk about movies on the internet. Well, you go ahead and lay out to me, like, what are all the movies I need to watch? Right. How many of them do I need to watch?
Well,
to when I can get on here and actually
that kind of is a perfect example of when you have a hobby. Like the social media is then trying to tell me what it means to be a true movie lover. Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, if I love movies, then that means that I had to have seen XYZ. And like, I always feel kind of inadequate around you because, you'll know director names and like you can remember actors and actresses' names. And I've never
myself more in the stuff than you do.
Yeah.
I'm more crazy about it.
But like, when we talk about stuff and I'll be like, what's his name again? Like just very like almost dumb about it.
But there's somebody out there that knows way more than me.
No, I know. But my point is, I can feel inadequate about like movie knowledge and stuff, but does that mean that I don't like movies or that I'm not a big enough movie fan?
You just watch different movies.
Social media, there's just like this competition, like who's seen the most movies? Like why does
who's seen the most obscure movies from this year or that year? Who's seen the most movies in the 30s?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who's seen this is the big one. Like who's seen the most foreign films?
Right.
From Japan. So you haven't watched foreign films, you can't talk about movies you haven't seen foreign films.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen that. Well, that's a remake of this 1955 North Vietnam, South Korean, Thailand.
Yeah. And it's like, wow.
Ireland, Finnish collaboration film.
Right.
So
but it's like at the end of the day, it's not that serious.
Just movies.
It's just not that serious. And I think that we should be able to just enjoy the
But on the
art.
flip side, I think it's fun to argue about movies and have different
See,
opinions.
look at you.
No, I think it's fun to like have
So
different
you're one who
opinions
thinks
on
it's
movies
fun to be mean.
while not judging somebody for like what they've seen and what they haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've noticed something like I got into Westerns like a lot recently. And the Western community, I have to call out for being pretty cool because they're the most like unjudgmental like genre community that I feel like I've stumbled into.
But
Because
it's
everything's
like,
always just about like the excitement of, oh, you get to watch this movie for the first time. That's awesome. Or I'm so glad you got to watch that for the first time.
uh-huh.
That's great. It just feels like it's a more
So there's
welcoming.
like a Western genre community.
I don't know if there's like an official one or
Wow.
just like I notice things by like what I review and talk about. Like I can review this horror film from the 80s. And I'm like, I saw this for the first time. Tons of judgmental comments.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the 80s horror,
but that's probably
horror
because
community in general is super judgmental and toxic.
yeah, but that's probably because there's a lot more of them.
I can talk about The Searchers. John Wayne's The Searchers on 4K. Have 30,000 people watch the video and tell everybody I watched it for the first time. And they're all just like gushing about the film in the comment section and also saying, oh my God, I'm so glad you got to watch that for the first time. It's an amazing film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it just feels it's much more positive with Western fans.
Yeah.
I just wanted to note that.
Well, there you go.
I don't know the relevancy to the topic today, but
well, we've definitely gone off. We've gone off on a few different side quests here, which I knew we would, but that just kind of happens because this is just real unedited conversation. Yeah, I don't know. I go through spurts, and it's kind of annoying because, like you said, like it comes from it almost comes from being influenced on social media to want to quit social media. Like, you know, it's like I get this little voice in my head of this person like telling me all these reasons why I should get rid of social media or whatever, why it doesn't matter. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you're totally right. This is stupid. I need to be out there.
The difference between me and you. I am very much influenced by a product. I'll admit that. I'm not so influenced by ideas. And you're very influenced by ideas. I feel
but what's better?
You change your whole mindset all the time based on like something you watched.
Yeah.
I don't know what's better. I'm not sitting here saying what's better. I guess yours costs less money.
I think you're saying I think you have I think you're trying to say something here. Yeah, I mean, like
because people can say whatever they want online. I'm very stubborn, and I'm gonna be like, nah, you're wrong. I'm gonna think the way I do, and I'm gonna keep doing things the way I'm doing them.
Also, like, isn't that a part of life? Like, we evolve and change our
sometimes though, because I stumbled across a video talking about cutting calories and things like that, and then I started doing it and I've held to it. But partly because it actually worked.
Me telling you to do it didn't matter.
Yeah, and it's actually worked. So it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna stick to that. You know, I've lost 20 pounds now.
Yeah, but rewind however many years ago, I did the same thing.
You did. You told me.
I lost weight.
I wasn't ready to hear it then.
And you always gave me crap for my little measly 30-minute walk. That don't do anything. You think you just...
Well, obviously you did something. You lost... I've never not given you credit for that. You lost like 70 pounds in a year.
Well, anyway, I just think that life is weird.
Oh, for sure. Like we're like none of this is real. Like us talking right now is not even real. Like this is all a simulation. And like the Matrix is the most real movie ever made. Like it's real. Like that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Everything going on in the world, this is not real. It could not be real. There's too many like coincidences and just weird things happening all the time that just don't add up. Like, how is this happening? What? This person said what and did this? That's not real.
Yeah.
Life is not real. None of this is real. That's what the internet is. That's what social media is. It's us like getting closer to like merging
to an awakening. I told
you
the
great awakening. We all wake up out of these like pools of goo and we have to fight these robots in this post-apocalyptic world.
But that was a movie, so
it is, but it's real. I think the Matrix is like real.
Mm,
I think it's the realest movie.
that's
ever made.
terrifying.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
But it's like, what can we do? We can't do anything about it. What is it? What is, right?
I just love movies. I don't know. There's times where I don't want to do this anymore because I just want to watch movies more. I've just discovered so much and I want to keep discovering, and I just don't want to have to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to continue to watch them.
Well, I think that
there's times I want to quit just because of that.
I think watching movies is great. I love movies, but I do think that, we all need to just take a deep breath and also get out and make sure you're living your real life. Your real life, or
well,
your
what does
fake,
that mean?
Your fake life.
What does that mean?
It means get out and
go see a movie.
Spend time with the people you love, and whatever that is. Like, there's other things out there besides sitting on the couch and watching a movie.
You know what I really want to do? I want to go
watching a movie is kind of odd because you're literally watching a life experience.
It's escapism.
But you're like watching life in a movie and not living your own.
The best movies can make you think about your own life and what you're doing.
Okay, so you said that you don't get influenced by thoughts or ideas, but don't you kind of when you watch a movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
I do. I watch a movie all the time, and then it becomes my whole identity, and I'm like, wow. Like, I watched
really
Squid Game and Perfect Days, and I'm like, I'm going to Japan. I'm divorcing you if you don't want to come.
Yeah. You did say that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's gonna do it for our episode. Yeah, I think we
had a good discussion. It got a little heated, but that's a good thing.
Got a little wonky. Went off on some.
Yeah, I still don't completely understand what we were talking about. I guess like we're talking about social media and consumerism. I guess is like the big overarching theme of the podcast.
How social media affects how we enjoy.
Like, I gotta think of things in a simpler way when I'm titling this, put thumbnails together.
I've already thought about that.
Okay.
Let's not.
I do want to say that I love talking about movies.
We know. I'm
not a shill, okay? I just like showing off a lot of boxes. I don't know what you want me to say. Right. I enjoy it. But, there are things about it I don't enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I should quit. All right. Anyway, that's it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't. I'm not a video baby maker. I can't pump out videos every day like Ken. Or we can't on our channel.
You'll see Michelle again next month.
I can't promise when there'll be something coming, but I
might do a live on Monday.
I just wanted to talk about this. So
well, it was a good discussion.
Yeah,
thank you for bringing it to light. But
you want me to end
this? The Married with Media podcast, episode 12. If you enjoyed it, give us a like. If you didn't, give us a dislike. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.